Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. My name is Vladimir, and I'm a language teacher myself.
Oh, what do you teach?
English primarily.
English.
And that's the reason I'm here on this platform
hmm
to have a conversation with my fellow teachers on the topic of teaching.
Okay. Teaching. That's right. Awesome. What group of people do you teach?
I used to actually, to be honest, kind of similar to Cambly, but offline.
Okay.
Adults
Adults.
primarily. Yes. That's
Okay.
what I wanted to talk to you about and ask you about. I
hmm
prepared a list with some statements and questions, and I'd love to get your 2 cents on the matter. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Go right ahead.
My first question is, what is the role of a language teacher when it comes to adults?
The role of a language teacher is to teach them how to learn so that they can continue to learn by themselves. So,
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
right?
So, what is it that you do that helps the adult learner learn alone, become an independent learner?
Mm. So I like to provide tools. So, of course, speaking and listening right now helps. So that's part of it. But I like to provide the tools. So um, I basically give them the language areas they need to work on and then suggest ways they can do it. So I'm just writing a quick list. I'm sure you know. Um, so reading, writing, listening, speaking,
What
um,
kind of tools?
culture. Um, Okay, right. So basically, those are the language areas, and so I basically tell them how they can work in those different areas. So, for example, for vocabulary, it's been done, but vocabulary cards, right? By having the vocabulary cards to practice every day. Um, that's pretty obvious. Or grammar cards.
You don't have to type it in. I get it. Vocabulary cards. What else? Like
Um,
flashcards.
flashcards, grammar cards. So same thing for cards, but you put the grammar on it. So
Okay.
you would practice.
What about dictionaries?
Of course, dictionaries are always a good idea.
Isn't that
Not.
the first tool for a learner to become independent?
I prefer to have a dictionary because I like to see the exact meaning. But some people just want to listen and speak. So it depends on the person, really. Um, but of course, dictionaries are helpful.
To me, they are essential. What kind of dictionaries do you usually recommend?
Dictionaries. So
Indispensable is, I think, probably another word. Yeah.
yes, and again, it depends on what you're interested in. A dictionary, so a two-way dictionary, so English to whatever your language is, your language to English, but also the verb ones too. Do you have a verb book like
What
the
about
501 verbs?
monolingual dictionaries?
Monolingual dictionaries. You can
English to English.
English to English.
Oh,
You
Spanish to
can.
Spanish doesn't matter, right? Yeah.
I don't really see those very often.
Oh, really?
It's usually
Longman,
both.
Cambridge, Oxford,
Oh, you mean
Merriam-Webster.
okay? You just mean a regular dictionary. Okay, yes, of course
Those
those two.
monolingual learners dictionaries. I don't know if you've looked at dictionaries like Longman, Cambridge, Merriam-Webster, probably not, but
Mhm.
Longman, Cambridge, Oxford. Have you looked?
Yes, yeah, I tend to use Webster most of the time
Okay.
for the U.S., but yes, those are okay too. I wouldn't recommend them to new learners. It just advanced ones. If you do have just a monolingual dictionary, you're going to want to write a lot of notes in it in your own language just to help. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So yes, but only if you're advanced. So
I
like,
see.
so that's interesting.
Okay. Yes, I've only used monolingual dictionaries when I was learning English, and now I'm transitioning to a monolingual with my Japanese,
Really?
which
Oh,
is
you
to
understand.
me this is the so this is the hardest part by far. I think
Mhm.
once you make the this so-called monolingual transition, you've basically made it. You have a master's degree in applied linguistics, right?
Yes, right.
So what is language? I think you would agree that in order to figure out how to teach, we need to be able to define the thing we're teaching, right?
Right.
So
Yep,
what is language? Yes, what is language?
Language is
in a few words.
Right. The expression of your thoughts and ideas. It can be spoken or not. So that's basically what language is. So you're connecting with someone via words.
But you would agree that the vast majority of people perceive language as spoken representation of the thoughts, right? You said could be spoken or not, but I think for vast majority of people it's about speaking.
Most commonly, but of course there are things like ASL, right?
No, I understand. Yeah.
And body language is very important too.
But for the vast majority, language is a tool of communication, basically, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, let me give you my definition as a non-linguist, which is the exact opposite. Language is a tool for acquiring knowledge. Language is not for speaking. Language is for getting information, getting knowledge.
Of course, that's all part of it too. So,
but that's the exact opposite.
But communication means you're getting knowledge from someone and giving knowledge to someone else.
So to me, language is more or less the written word. Not only, but it's primarily 99% is the written and the spoken word, but not in a face-to-face conversation. That doesn't have to be. Again, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge. I think you would agree that we don't acquire knowledge. We acquire very little knowledge through conversation. Let me put it that way.
So, are you talking knowledge as in facts? Because
information, knowledge. When, for example, I ask you, what are you knowledgeable about?
Mm-hmm. Right. But there's a difference between that and things like intelligence, like emotional intelligence, for example.
Knowledge, yes.
Because knowledge, yes. If you acquire knowledge from someone in a conversation, maybe it's not new words, maybe it's greater understanding of their mind or...
But conversations are the least effective way to acquire knowledge. Wouldn't you agree?
No, it depends. That's why we have all those different mediums, because all together, if we use all of them, we can learn the best. If we just use conversation, of course, it's not going to be as effective.
But wouldn't you agree that we acquire knowledge through books primarily?
Of course. I love to read books. I love to acquire my knowledge with books, but some people just cannot do it. They do not like to read.
And they have the necessary knowledge without reading, you think?
Yes, there are people
Give me an expert who is knowledgeable on a certain topic, not having read a single book.
No, I'm talking about language. So people will acquire language all the time without reading or writing. So they learn it just by experiencing, by living somewhere. So if we're talking about becoming an expert in, physics, of course, they have to learn that from books. But when it comes to language, there's no need. It just depends on your motivation. I learn languages because I love to connect with other people in other cultures. So when I learned the other languages I know, it was not for money. It was because...
No, of course. No. Yeah. No, because, again, we're talking about... you're talking from the viewpoint of a native speaker of English. Because you know the myth around English, that English opens doors to career opportunities and riches beyond anyone's imagination. Sorry, yeah, I should have specified. Exactly. Yes. So... I think you're aware of that myth, right? The English. Yeah.
It opens opportunities for people, but it's not going to give you riches more than necessarily
what
beyond your
opens
dreams.
Up opportunities is the knowledge you acquire through English, not the ability to speak. It's the knowledge you acquire through the language. That's my opinion. But that's perfectly fine.
Right. It's your knowledge of English too. I talk to a lot of people who have job opportunities because they learn English. So they use it for their job. If they speak English, then they will get a better job or get paid more. Saudi Arabia and Turkey, I speak with people all the time who say, I have to learn this so I can get a good job. So
they say that, but yeah, what people value is the real skills, the proper skills. But yeah, okay, that's my experience. Let me ask you about your certificates in what was it? TEFL, TESOL, TEFL and
yep.
TESOL.
Yeah.
How are those certificates helping you, or anybody else for that matter, become a better teacher?
So basically, it's having metalinguistic knowledge. So it's knowledge of how to teach and in what ways to distribute that. So the classes I took first were about just linguistics in general. So the semantics,
This is a TEFL, so the TEFL certificates, not the linguistics, not the master's degree in linguistics.
Yes, but it's tied into it.
Oh,
so
okay.
part of it is the language structure itself, and then part of it is learning how to teach in the ways I told you, by teaching different ways to learn grammar and vocabulary and listening, speaking, all of that. So it's pretty much just learning the structure of the language and how to teach it, and then going out and teaching it.
Could you, in a few words, tell me how to learn grammar?
How to learn grammar. Okay, so it's through all those other ways. So by
how to
speaking,
teach grammar? Okay, sorry.
Teach grammar. Yes, grammar. I would start doing grammar visually. I think it's easier to see it first. So, like I gave you give, for example. So I would start by saying to give. Okay, I give you this. I would give you a sentence. So I give you an apple. Right?
You're talking about kind of absolute beginners in a way, I feel.
Yes, that's absolutely.
Which is fine, yeah, which is fine. Yeah, I see.
Right. So if they already have started learning how to do the tenses and everything, then I would go ahead and tackle more things like idioms, for example.
To me, again, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge, and speaking is a byproduct of knowledge acquisition. So again, to me, speaking is the very last thing people should think about. I'm not saying people shouldn't speak. I'm saying that speaking is the last thing they should think about. I'm against speaking for the sake of speaking, for the sake of practicing one speaking. But that's my opinion. Yeah, it's perfectly fine to disagree.
Yeah. No, there was. Sorry. There was a theory called there are some people called the Old Grammarians who kind of had that idea that basically you learn from the books and you can translate
books.
Books.
I mean not textbooks. Language is a tool for acquiring knowledge. It's again, I'm not talking about grammar books. Grammarian, I'm not sure about that theory, but would a native speaker of English pay money to have a conversation with you?
In English? No.
No. You have one life. Don't waste it.